Hello, everybody. Welcome back. My name is John Clayton. I'm a recovering drug addict and alcoholic, and I've been clean since February 21st, 2021. Okay, yeah, so what are we? November 1st today. We're going to continue on in the Living Clean book, and we're on the next section is connection to our higher power. Cool. Okay, so I'll just get started. Many of us noticed when we first came to meetings that members who are recovering and happy with themselves seem to shine. That light of the Spirit is the most beautiful thing we have to offer, and it's less fragile than we think. After all, it survived our addiction. Tending that light is partly about nurturing the passion inside us, and partly a process of trimming away all the stuff that hides us from ourselves. Our defects grow in the dark. In the light of recovery, our assets begin to blossom. There is more than one way we understand the phrase practicing these principles. We practice and we don't always get it right. The basic text tells us in the sixth step we learn that we are growing when we make new mistakes. Regular practice, beginning with the basics and gradually progressing from there, is exactly how we get good at anything. From learning to play an investment instrument, sorry, from learning to play an instrument or speak a new language to learn how to live a spiritual principle and rewarding life, we are not just learning new skills, we are breaking old habits. Some are so deeply ingrained that they feel like a part of who we are. Building a relationship with something greater than ourselves is a project we undertake the first time we approach the steps, and it continues throughout our recovery. For some of us, spiritual discipline, including prayer and meditation, shape our day. Others of us try to live our lives as a prayer, offering all of our actions as gifts to our higher power. However we practice or experience it, our relationship with our higher power comes to shape our understanding of who we are and how we relate to the world around us. Our actions and motives reflect our values and beliefs. When we are in tune with a power greater than ourselves, we seem to flow more easily with the currents in our lives. After years clean, we experience ourselves differently than we did in the beginning. As we develop an identity beyond addict, we wonder whether that label still applies, whether we still belong in the fellowship. We tend to lean we tend to learn balance by balancing off both extremes. Questioning our relationship with NA can take it to a deeper level. The answers we find help to resolve our new reservations, and the security to question our foundation is part of the secret to solidifying it for a lifetime. It is said that those wishing to discover a new land must spend a long time at sea. Sometimes, when we feel like we are lost at sea, we may wonder whether the program still matters for us. We are afraid to doubt because we know it can kill us. But the fear of questioning our new way of life can lead us to be dishonest with ourselves. NA isn't about learning to be compliant. It is about establishing a relationship with something greater than ourselves. and often that relationship can be a little stormy. It is important to know there are members who will give us space to question our recovery, but don't quite let go of us either through or sorry. Though some people will be unsure how to respond to our doubt, sharing our feelings can help us to see that we are not alone. In moments of extreme uncertainty, fake it till you make it is exactly the wrong prescription. Even though it may work just fine at other times, we need to be brutally honest with ourselves and about what we feel and what we believe. Out of these moments of doubt can grow a faith that is truly our own. We can neither deny nor indulge their feelings. They must be handled with care. We learn what is true for us, and that sets the direction for our lives. Our moral compass is the product of the work we do to understand that and apply spiritual principles. When we move away from what we know is right, we feel frustrated and trapped. When we forget what is true for us, we lose our way and drift dangerously. On the other hand, when our understanding of the truth is changing, we may feel much more lost than we actually are. That compass is very much at work and is leading us in a new direction. Through these periods of grave doubt and uncertainty, we find a new surrender, a deeper faith, and often a very different sense of who we are. We run back to our old ways for fear that we may become someone we don't recognize or won't even like. Some of us fear that if we go all the way inside, what we will find is nothing but the emptiness we once feared gives us space for growth and change. We stop trying so hard to recreate ourselves and simply allow it to happen. As we work our way through those layers, we find safety, clarity, and confidence that no matter what happens, we don't have to lose ourselves again. There are some questions we can only answer alone, but in order to face those questions alone, we need the support of people we trust. The difference between solitude and isolation is another fine line we identify through experience. One question we learn to ask ourselves is, am I acting in the service of a greater good right now? We may need to be alone to connect with our higher power. Sometimes the best thing we can do is to rest and unwind. Read a book or watch a movie and let go. This is not the same as isolation. Through the difference may not be apparent to anyone else. The difference inside we come to identify for ourselves that to restorative time alone and what is destructive withdrawal. Acceptance of our changing spirituality is part of our personal evolution. If our relationship with our higher power is real and meaningful, of course it will change over time. But sometimes it feels like a crisis. If we surrender, it will drive us back to the steps, and in revisiting step 2 and 3, we can find a relationship to faith that makes more sense to us. As our values change, our beliefs are likely to develop as well. Letting go of the idea that we have to understand why things happen or how it all works frees us to have a spiritual experience without wondering if we're doing it right. Action is not always visible. Sometimes, in order for us to move forward, we must stand very still. Meditation can be hard because it can be so uncomfortable to be quiet with ourselves. So simply stand in the moment, and be present. But this is where we ask for help, listen for answers, look ourselves in the eye, and see who we are, where we are, and how we are. When we can be still and observe without judgment, we are given the clarity to see what is right for us and what is not. We learn to trust our process and allow it the time it needs to work. When we set timelines for now, for how well we should be, or how long we will grieve, we be afraid, be not, or not know the answer to a question. We can set ourselves up to believe that recovery isn't working. Recovery works very well, but not always on the schedule we set for it. There is no substitute for time. A lot of the step work we do after the first time through is about clarity, listening to the voice within that tells us when what we are doing is right and when it's not in line with our values. Each time we release more of what ties us to false expectations and beliefs about who we are no longer contained by our addiction or our old narrow view of what life is supposed to look like. We learn that the power we gain in the 11th step is available to when we are doing our higher power's will and living in self acceptance. The biggest change in recovery often happens when we're not looking. We wake up and find ourselves in lives we hardly recognize as our own. We find stability, dignity, and honor in our dealings with others, where once we saw struggle, degradation, and alienation. We gain self respect when we follow through on commitments. These may begin with group service commitments, making coffee, chairing a meeting, and so forth. As our ability to follow through begins to grow, we take on larger challenges. Perhaps the biggest one is following through on our commitment to work the steps. One of our members suggests that it is not just the work we do in the steps, but the way we most but the, sorry, but the way we worked the steps that sets the pattern of our lives. Taking on a big project in little pieces, working consistently on something that is important even when it is hard or unpleasant, teaches us different things than we learn by pushing through in a rush or working all night to meet a deadline. Through the steps, we peel back the layers of illusion that we mistake for ourselves. We learn that we have a disease, but that our disease isn't all we are. We learn that we are not God. We learn that we are not our past or our defects of character. We notice when we are confusing how we are for who we are as we work our way deeper and deeper through the illusion. Some of us wonder what will be left. We talk to members we respect and trust, and they remind us that working a program is not going to turn us into anyone other than who we truly are. As we develop a conscious contact with a power greater than ourselves, we grow into an awareness that our higher power doesn't want an imaginary, idealized version of us. We, we come as we are and we serve best when we are most fully ourselves. The simple act of being present without trying to pretend works to peel away the distortions and lies of our defects, our baggage, and our nagging sense of inadequacy. We learn who we are precisely when we forget ourselves in service to others. Yeah, well, it's a good read. I hope you guys are enjoying it. I know I've said this many times already that I'm not the greatest reader, and I'm still trying to learn how to even present myself in a, I want to do this as professional and possibly entertaining as I can, and I'm just learning as I go along. But I do appreciate every one of you, and I look forward to seeing you next time. And yeah, so please hit like and subscribe, and I would love it if you join my community, and yeah, we can stick together and stay clean and sober together another day. Because me, you, everyone, we don't have to do it alone. So thank you, everybody. We'll see you soon.